American Nightmare, the one and only Cody Rhodes. In your opinion, is this it? Is he the one to stop the 916 current day reign of the undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns?
It's about time to give Cody Rhodes his shine. I love Roman Reigns, but I feel like it's the dream ending for Cody, and he deserves it honestly. So as much as I love Roman and Roman Reigns is one of my favorites, I love Cody as well. But I feel like the reign ends at WrestleMania.
Okay, so I think the reign is going to end. I don't think it should yet. I don't think Cody should be the one. I really don't. I think Cody is a really good, babyface. I don't think he's the top face in the company. I don't see it. I don't see him carrying the company. I think there are three legitimate options. One of them I thought was Sammy, which I probably knew they weren't going to put the title on him in Elimination Chamber. But Sami Zayn is so over with the crowd in that company. I really feel like it's Sami Zayn's time. I think you can make an argument for Seth Rollins just because of the history with him and Roman. And I think you can make an argument to go back to Jey Uso, where the originality of the Bloodline story began with main event Jey Uso eventually being the one to dethrone the tribal chief of the Undisputed Championship. I think all three of those stories make sense. I don't think the Cody story necessarily makes sense. And I don't know what you do with Cody after WrestleMania because it's almost like, oh, finish the story, finish the story. Well, okay, what are you going to do after WrestleMania? Because there's not a lot of contenders for Cody to face.
Yeah, now that you say that, yeah, it does make sense. Where do you go with Cody after he finishes the story about winning a championship?
Like to me, if you're like if I was booking it, Cody actually potentially wins the title at SummerSlam or next year's WrestleMania. I would book it so that Jey Uso is the one to screw Cody. Roman retains at WrestleMania, and so now Cody has a reason to keep continuing the fighting to get to finish the story because he won the Royal Rumble match. Great. It's like Cody versus Roman has had no real intensity like Sammy and Roman had, like Jay and Roman had, right? And so I think you need to give Cody a reason to keep fighting towards Roman. And I don't even think Cody was the first option. I would love to see The Rock and Roman throw down at
Oh my
WrestleMania
God, I
40.
want to see that.
I wanted to see it so bad. I think you could do it without the title next year, WrestleMania 40, and you maybe have Cody win the title at SummerSlam, and then Roman comes back and The Rock challenges him, and that's how you can get Rock and Roll without the championship being involved. But I really do feel, man, as much as I like Cody, I just don't feel like it's his time because I feel like there's way better stories out there than Cody being the one to dethrone Roman.
So you would give it to Roman to win?
I would give it to Roman to win. Just like I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't love the idea of Sammy and Kevin Owens fighting Jay and Jimmy Uso for the tag titles. Because I've said it too. After the Bloodline story, where do Kevin and Sammy go as tag team champions? It makes no sense if that's the route that they're going to go. I would love it if Sammy found his way to again fight back in the Bloodline and get another shot at Roman for the Universal Championship. And they don't do the tag team thing with Kevin Owens because they've been fighting back and forth. Now they're friends. Like, the problem with the Bloodline story is it's so good. After it, there's no foul. And I'm very interested to see how they pull this out. I thought about maybe you give Cody one championship, you give Roman the other, maybe you give Cody the WWE championship somehow. You have Roman defended on both nights, Sammy one night, Cody the other night. Because I don't think Cody winning both belts either solves the problem, which is to me, you got to get the WWE Championship off of Roman because I would like to see Roman break Hulk Hogan's record as the Universal Champion and get to that number. I think he'd be pretty close
What's the
after
number?
WrestleMania for his. It's like just over 1,000 days as champion. Roman would break Hulk Hogan's record. I don't think he's going to get to Bob Backlund or Bruno Sammartino. I think he could break Macho Man, I believe, who's the other one on that list. But Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in terms of the undisputed storyline.
Yeah, I feel like with the bloodline, the only way you can spin it more is putting The Rock. And I honestly
Yeah,
thought The Rock was gonna come
I
come in
thought so too.
somehow sooner than soon like recently. I honestly thought he was gonna come back at like Rumble or something.
I thought so too, but that's not the plan. It seems like they're going forward with Cody versus Roman. And now I have a question of like, okay, if Cody is the champion, how do you get one of the belts off Cody? Because I do feel like they're gonna split the WWE Universe Championship, even if Roman were to retain somehow after WrestleMania. Maybe Roman were to just drop the belt. I don't know, but to me, you got to get Raw Major Championship back.
And who would you want to carry that?
See, that's the thing. I feel like it's Seth Rollins. I feel like you do Rollins versus Reigns the night after WrestleMania, and you make it for only the WWE Championship.
Yeah, I like that.
And Rollins wins. My idea was, before Theory cashed in on the U.S. champion, my idea was that Theory cash in, you make it for only one of the championships, and he, pins whether it be Drew McIntyre or something like that at Clash of the Castle for the WWE championship, and you put the title on Theory. Then obviously that's not the direction they went, but I thought that was the easiest path to get at least one of the belts off Roman.
Do you not just throwing it out there? Do you feel like Bray's with Raw, right?
Bray Wyatt?
Yeah.
No, he's on SmackDown.
Oh, I thought he was with Raw. I
No,
was
he's a
like,
SmackDown guy. He's
I was,
fighting Raw superstar Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania, but he is a SmackDown superstar.
do you think Bobby can get in there somehow?
Bobby, no. I don't think Bobby's is over. Again, I really think it's three options. Four if you include Cody, but I think it's Rollins, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso. I think those are your three most over people to deal with the bloodline story. I don't think Lashley has that much of a story with Reigns. Lesnar is always a legitimate option, but that's not happening, obviously. I think that's the route you go. Moving on to the rest of the WrestleMania 39 card. Listen, this card looks really good on paper. I'm surprised at some of the directions they went. I thought Rhea Ripley would challenge Bianca Belair and not Charlotte Flair. I thought they would maybe do a Charlotte, Becky, Bayley triple threat type match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ray and Dominic look really good. Edge and Finn Balor look really good. Lashley, Wyatt, Lesnar, Amos. Like, obviously, there's some pieces that need to be filled, but just your overall thought on this current card of WrestleMania and how you think the show's going to play out.
I I I hope they don't give it to Charlotte. I feel like the Charlotte storyline is getting old and repetitive.
I agree. I think Rhea's gonna win the SmackDown Women's Championship. I think Asuka's gonna win the Raw Women's Championship. I think we're gonna have two new Women's Champions come WrestleMania. I think Gunther does retain the Intercontinental Championship in whatever matches he does face. I'm very curious to see if they do go through with Cena versus Theory for the U.S. title, and if Cena actually does become the U.S. champion, if he sticks around for a night or two.
Oh yeah, I forget about Cena.
I mean,
I would like to see that.
I mean,
He's
do
been
you
on
hot shot the belt on Cena for one night, have him do an open challenge the night after WrestleMania and lose it?
to who?
Somebody new from NXT, maybe. Or maybe you bring back a returning Tommaso Ciampa, maybe a Johnny Gargano, somebody like that who's never had a shot at a championship. Potentially
Yeah,
Damian Priest in the Judgment Day, who I thought was going to win that awesome Elimination Chamber match.
yeah, I like Damian Priest a lot. I like Damian Priest a lot.
I like
But
this version of Damian Priest. The whatever version they did before him was awful, but
with the jacket,
the changing of like he's a good guy to a bad guy, like the mood swings thing they did last year,
yeah.
that was um but regardless, I want to ask you one more wrestling question, Larador. This is a question that's been on my mind a lot, and it's about the sale of WWE. I have been covering this story here on the Brand's World podcast for months. And I'll reiterate to you what I've been telling the fans for months is Listen, Triple H has done a great job with the product since
Yes,
July. I really thought he's brought in a lot of fresh ideas. I think the product needed a refresh. I'm not taking away anything from Mr. McMahon because Vince obviously built this company to be great entertainment, and Vince is the reason for so many great storylines and characters of the history of wrestling, but I don't love the idea of a sale. I think it's petty on Vince's part. I think Vince is mad at the fact that his son-in-law is doing a better job than him. I didn't like the fact that he came back to begin with, and the rumors of him selling to Saudi Arabia. I don't like it at all. I love WWE. WWE has given me so many moments in my life. To me, it's the best wrestling in the world. I don't care about AEW. I don't really care about New Japan. I don't care about any of the wrestling but WWE because I feel like it is by far the best wrestling in the world. And I will be legitimately upset if he sells to Saudi Arabia because it's not right in my opinion.
I agree with you. I feel like keep it how it is, and just be happy that your product is still
Yeah.
up and running at its best because of your son-in-law. Your
Now, if
son-in-law,
Now, I would say this though, real quick, and I'm trying to cut you off. If Disney were to buy it, or Comcast, or Fox, somebody that knows the product, I would say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's the idea of Saudi that I don't love, and the shows over there are fine. I don't mind them. It's obviously what they stand for in their culture, knowing what they want to do with the company. I think WWE would be essentially over in 5 years if Saudi Arabia were to take over.
yeah, I agree. Who do you think would be best to to sell it to?
So it sounds like Comcast is not going to be involved in it, though I would think Comcast would be the best option because they own NBC Universal. So you already have the rights, obviously, to Raw, NXT, and Peacock. I think SmackDown would move from Fox to NBC, but just keep it all in the family, and you would essentially then keep it at Comcast, and Triple H would still have the structure.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Like,
that a lot.
like to me, that makes the most sense if you are going to sell it. But this whole thing, like the whole thing on WWE right now is such an exciting product, but there's like this black cloud over it, right? Because any day they could announce, boom, the company's being sold. And it sounds like it's either going to go to Saudi or Shad and Tony Khan.
Yeah, I don't like either of those.
Yeah, I don't either. And literally, I'm going to be honest with you. I just said I don't watch AEW really at all because I'm not a fan of Tony Khan. I think Tony is a blatant idiot. I'm just gonna be. I don't like Tony Khan. I think he oversells everything. I think the whole thing with the All Elite CM Punk Brock kind of turned me off AEW completely. AEW was so great as an alternative when it first started. And then when Cody left to go back to WWE, it kind of felt more significant than I think we all thought at the time. AEW has been completely off the rails to me ever since. Their ratings are going down. They're not as out of a product. And it's just they have so many talented people, and they're now in the same situation that WWE was in a couple of years ago, where talent like Rusev or Miro, for example, aren't even being used. You have great guys like Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson, who's going to be in the AEW Revolution Championship match. I understand against MJF, but it doesn't feel like that they are doing what they set out to do 40 years ago when the company launched.
I feel like the biggest mistake they did was let Cody go.
That, yep. I agree. Also, they had all these pay-per-views on Saturday, and now they moved them to Sunday. And also, I was telling people this too. I think asking people now to buy pay-per-views for $60 when WWE and Peacock is $5 is ridiculous. I said this about the UFC. I said it about AEW. Get your premium live events on a streaming service. It makes no sense now. You're making people pay $60 for events.
Yeah, even like UFC, they have like the app, but you still
Right.
have to.
It's on
It's so
ESPN Plus, but you still have to pay the $60 for the
yeah,
event,
it's so
which
stupid.
doesn't make sense to me. I said this. I give Vince a lot of credit because the WWE Network was one of the greatest inventions he made. If that was before streaming even took off, and WWE was ahead of the curve on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I loved I love the WWE Network. Get everything for free.
Yeah, and I mean, like even now on Peacock, like I use Peacock for other things too, so it saved me $5 a month, and I pay $5 for Peacock and the WWE Network at the same time. It's great. I mean, who would have thought, 10 years ago WrestleMania would be available for $5?
Right.
But yet, you're paying $60 for AEW Revolution. That's no knocking AEW Revolution, but it's no WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Um,
that
I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting time, I think, after WrestleMania. Whoever buys WWE, it's gonna be a big show, whatever it is.
when is that coming? Because I honestly thought that story died.
No, it's not dying. It's gonna be announced in about May or June. I think Nick Khan, their CEO, announced it's gonna happen in May or June. I personally feel like the deal with Saudi Arabia is already done, and they're gonna announce it in late May when they go back there for the King and Queen of the Ring premium live event. Which, if you did not hear, they're bringing back King and Queen of the Ring in a actual pay-per-view event in Saudi Arabia. It's gonna be a one-night tournament.
So where do you feel like WWE is gonna go
I
if
think
they
it's
do?
Saudi, and I think it's already done.
And where do you think the product goes? Do you
I
feel like it dies
uh
completely or what?
yeah, un- I think it's gonna be a slow death, and I think it sucks. Because I love it. But I don't know if we're gonna get a WrestleMania 42. I'll put it that way. I don't like it. It smells. The whole thing smells like a setup. It really does. It smells like Vince being a bitter man for being kicked out because of his allegations, and he's pissed off that the company is doing well without him, and he's jealous. The whole thing smells like it to me.
I don't get why he's jealous. It's your son-in-law, like
I know.
running it. Like I don't understand.
And apparently, him and Stephanie McMahon had real work issues. Like they did not get along at work at all. They have different visions, and it sounds like it's Triple H and Stephanie versus Vince.
Oh well, the egos, egos.
Egos. It absolutely is. And Shane McMahon, nobody knows where he is.
Right.
And nobody knows
Huh.
where Shane stands, but it's really very interesting around this time next year.